Hello, I'm Dr. Tina Cannon from Chattanooga State Community College. In this segment, I want to show you how to use your TI calculator to calculate descriptive statistics. And in this, we're going to focus on the measures of center, which we're talking about finding the mean, the median, the mode, and the mid-range. And we're going to take our course compass site, and in this particular problem, I'm going to use a handout that's located in Calculator Instruction. And we are in Unit 1, and we're going to look at descriptive statistics. So this is a handout that we will be using. Now, in this particular problem, we are given a list of weights for pitchers on the Atlanta Braves ball team, and what we want to do is use the data to calculate our different statistics. And what I'm going to do is call up my calculator. And when you first go on, you need to place your values into your calculator. We're going to push STAT, and our values will be located in number 1, so I'm push enter. And at this point, you will need to type in all of your values. Now, I currently have these values typed in, so you may need to pause the video and type in the values that's on the handout. Now, I currently have these in here, so let me go through the steps with you on using the calculator. Now, notice the very first thing it says enter the data in list 1. So that's what we have done, and press enter and continue the process. Now, the next thing, we're trying to calculate the mean of our values. And what happens is there are several things located under the statistics button. If you push STAT, notice at the very top it says calculate. We need to move over with our arrow key on our calculator to calculate. Now, we have one set of values. We have the weights of the baseball players. So we are going to pick one variable, statistics, number 1. So you can either push the number 1 or you can just push enter since it's highlighted. Now, if you notice, I said the values are placed in list 1. Well, first of all, press stat, calculate. Okay, we did that. And then go over to one variable stats, and we can just press enter. Now, at this point, list 1 is always our default list. What that means is the calculator is set up to read the values from list 1. At this point, you do not have to tell it that your values are in list 1. But if your values were in list 2, then at this point you would have to tell it list 2. So right now, I'm just going to show you how to tell the calculator which list you're working with. Remember, if it's in list 1, you do not have to do this, but you can if you want to. It doesn't matter. But notice our values are in list 1. So you push second and the number 1, because above number 1 it says L1. And it will say, okay, I'm going to calculate one variable statistics on list 1. But you've got to be sure to push enter. And now you will have a set of values that will come up on your screen. Now let me scroll down. You can see they should be the same ones that we have. What I want to do is go through and show you what we have. Now, first of all, we need the mean, or the average weight of pitchers on the Atlanta Braves ball team. So at the very beginning, the mean is represented with an X bar. So the average weight of pitchers for the Atlanta Braves ball team would be 201.8 pounds. Okay. The next one just adds up all the values, because sometimes in statistics you have to add all your values. So this symbol is the summation symbol, so we added up all the values. Sometimes in calculating some of the statistics you'll need to square the values and add them up, so they have that on there, the summation of x squared. Later on, you will be dealing with standard deviation. That's what the SX stands for, the standard deviation of a sample. This is standard deviation of a population when you're working with populations. The N tells you how many values you have. If you actually count your values, there should be 22. Now notice the arrow right under it is flashing. I'm going to push the arrow key down. That means there's more values. This is going to be very important in another section that deals with a 5-number summary. So right now it's showing us that the ball player that had the least weight weighed 170 pounds. The maximum player was 230 pounds. And then what we have what we call quartiles. Quartile 1, which means 25% of the players weighed less than 185, or you could say 75 weighed more than 185. The median is the middle, and that's one of our measures of center. That's the middle weight, or the middle number that we're looking at, and that would be considered Q2. Quartile 2 is also the same as the median, or 50% of my values. Q3 would be like 75%. So this is called your 5-number summary. Now, in this section, what they wanted us to do is find the mean. So now you know how to find the mean. Well, I'm going to remind you of something. The mean is found by adding all of your values. So for instance, if you look at this, you can see that all my values added up to 4,440 if you add all the weights. And to find the mean, you add them all together and divide by how many you have. So if I take 4,440 and I divide this by 22, we can see this should come out what we had as the mean. So to find the mean, you add all the values and divide it by the number of values that you have. And so notice this matches what we had for the mean. Okay, the median is the middle number. Now, to find the median by hand, you have to sort your values. So if you push STAT, and we're going to sort number 2, and it's in list 1, so I'm going to push second and the number 1. This is in a previous video if you need steps for sorting data. Push enter, and then call up the statistics, STAT again, and enter, and look at all your lists. Okay, what we're trying to do is find the middle number. Now, if you remember, I think there were 22 values. So if we divide that in half, that'll be 11. Well, what happens is this is an even amount of numbers, so our actual median is in between the 11th and the 12th value. So to find the median, you have to add those two together and divide it in half. Well, if I add 200 plus 200, divide it in half, I get 200 again. But also remember, if you push stat, move over to calculate, pick one variable stats and push enter. I'm not going to put L1 this time, I'm just going to push enter and scroll down. You can see there's the median. Okay, so at the top was the mean, that's the mean. The median is in the middle, right there's the median. Okay, now the mode. The mode means the value that repeats the most. So that's why I have to place my values in order. They're already in order. I'm going to push stat and push enter, and I'm looking to see which value repeats the most. So currently I can see 175 and 180 have they're the same amount of there's two values. So right now that would be my mode, but I need to scroll down and see if there's any others that repeat more than that. So notice 195 repeats twice. But if you look at the value 200, notice it repeated 4 times. So currently 200 is our mode. Let's see if there's anything else that repeats more than 4 times. Notice 230 repeats 1, 2, 3, 4. So it also repeats 4 times. So in this particular problem, we have 230 and we have 200 that repeated 4 times. So this is called bimodal. That means there's 2 in this that repeat the same amount of times. So our mode would be 200 and it would be 230 because they repeat the same amount of times. Okay, mid-range. When you're calculating your mid-range, it's your maximum plus your minimum divided by 2. It's the middle of all the values placed in order. Well, remember, we can find our maximum and our minimum by pushing stat, move over to calculate, pick one variable stats, just push enter twice. Now remember, if you scroll down, There is our minimum and our maximum. So if you need to find the mid-range, you will add those two values together and divide in half. So 230 plus 170. Now be sure to push enter at this point. Do not push divide by 2 because you'll get the wrong answer because of order of operations. Divide by 2. And so in this particular one, our mid-range is 200. Okay, so this is an example of all of your values that measure the center of the values. So that's mean, median, mode, and mid-range.